Before I start my speech, I have to confess. The reason why I am using a bot to read my Shakespearean-style text, isn't because I played too much Detroit Become Human. The reason is being that the only thing that my European ancestors left me is a terrible English accent. And I know for sure, that you would rather watch your parents divorce than watch someone who is desperately trying to speak English. Also, I find this voice funnier than any Amy Schumer jokes. But seriously, why am I saying that League is not repetitive? Some of you might say that assuming this is like assuming that gravity doesn't exist. So let me hold the dialogue for the next couple of minutes and explain you my little theory that is also approved by a modern intellectual, named Soulja Boy. You remember when you were little and you could play with 2 Lego figurines for hours just because you invented some kind of George Lucas scenario? Yes, when you were a kid you had an imagination that is comparable to Bob Ross himself. So, with this hieroglyph I'm sending you, I'm trying to say that the key is imagination. If you have a big imagination, you could have as much fun playing League as if it was the first time that you were unpacking a console. The only difference between Lego and League is that in League you get rewarded with a scoliosis. But enough politics for today. Put your pencil down and let me show you what a League game with imagination looks like. So it starts like this. My team and I were ready for prom, but we learned that the enemy team just couldn't resist the idea of sneaking into the girls' showers. So pizza delivery girl hid herself into the closet before letting our uninvited guests invade our private property. But it seems like they could not find their missing chromosomes. So the enemy team only ended up doing a group party under the blankets. But as there is hunger and poverty in this world, there are also graduated morons in your team. Kale was asking herself why did the minion disconnect. So she thought that hitting the minion would fill the extra air that she had in her brain part. But Naughty Doggy came out of the teleport so my top planner would spoon feed him. But Kale did not move for a couple of seconds because she still couldn't understand how a minion transformed into a dog. So she chose to have a closer look this time by teleporting into her own stupidity. And now this play only makes this game look more chaotic than the Hunger Games. After so much emotions, I finally get to present myself. I made the terrible decision to play Vlad mid. But I immediately started to harass Talon like a Jehovah Witness. Ezio Auditore told me that he did not want to know anything about my foundation and he closed the door right in front of me. But my mother told me that in order to be successful in life, I need to be persistent. So even though the door was closed, I went to his window and after some more attempts, Talon finally chose to give 300 gold to charity. Now this is something between a deer and a kangaroo, but I prefer to call her Bambi. Anyway, she went to look for her missing mother in our compact corridor, but that was a double-edged sword because we told her that not all Disney's movies have a happy ending. Then, I heard that my top and uncle were opening a circus and that they wanted to adopt an animal. But they did not listen to the veterinarian who told them that some dogs were hostile. So Nasus refused to sign the contract and he started to attack the 2 Australopithecus. But Gale and Ivern did not want to give their cafeteria lunch so easily, so they started fighting back, until they realized that they were both as useful as a pen without ink. Afterwards, I made a little transgression. I did not see my brainwashed Gale, because I did an overdose of Pepsi Diet, which results in me having the same map awareness than a raccoon that is trying to cross a street. But rapidly, we started playing hide and seek with Ezio Auditore. However, his co-worker reminded me quickly that he is the cat and that I am the mouse. I am thankful to the fact that Gale proved that she is a certified single IQ digit unknown species by calling Zeus on herself instead of putting it on a fed blue douchebag. Even though I went back to the fountain, I did not care because I was still more fed than a midget that suffers from a eating disorder, until the personal of Riot Game shows that having 3 levels over a support Swain isn't enough to win a 1v1. So my team got chased like they were fugitives that were trying to escape their homeland, but it did not take too much time to the authorities to checkmate the survivors. Meanwhile, our top lane creature had teleport, but she was still busy trying to find if cereal is a soup or a vegetable. But I felt like asking Gale for help is like asking my little brother to help me with a calculus exam. But before we started suffering from depression, With the help of Pizza Delivery Girl and with a laser from Robocop, we managed to stop the boogeyman from stacking before sending him back at his gym to tell him that his 500 stacks workout wasn't enough for a 1v3. That play made us more excited than our first match on Tinder. Then the enemy team came to choose their bride for Valentine's Day near our mid-inhibitor. But we told them that it is 2020 and that everyone should be allowed to make their own decisions. So I went in like a homeless man asking for change until I landed a 4-man ult. And shout out to this low level of intellectual potential Kale that took for the first time, a leadership initiative towards her mouse. Which is right-clicking. I am sure that if her champion needed to press keys or needed to kite, that would go far beyond that player competency. So this resulted in our little analphabetic club collecting our Christmas gift earlier. Which is the Mountain Soul. At this point, the game was easier than changing your socks. I sent an email to the rest of my team to group and end the game. Kale and me thought that we found the Holy Grail because we were basically invincible. After we sent their bot lane to the garbage container, we figured Whitrick 2G will never get out of Diamond, because spoiler alert, Riot made this game more team-oriented than it used to be. So that is why I did not type to this lovely top laner. Because I knew that yelling at her is like yelling at a toddler because he does not know how to feed himself. So I hope that you understand that League is not as painful as cutting your leg when you use your imagination to make jokes around tilting things. Once again, feel free to add me on my account Salty Salter so we can open a chess club.